So,
My favorite song is All Star, unironically. Always has been. Very first moment I saw that Shrek intro, it has been my favorite song. It's been more than half my life now.
well, that's the
And I
thing
still
is,
listen to it reverently.
that's the thing is people pretending to like it. I like it ironically is itself ironic because they like it unironically.
Deep down, we all love the Shrek intro. Or at least the moment we first saw the first 5 minutes of Shrek. Possibly, possibly the most magical moment in modern cinematography ever.
It really resonates with nuclear science in a way. I mean, if you think about it, it's like it plays out. Like, it's a moment that never leaves you, and we're still peeling the layers away from it. Like, nuclear physicists use it to calculate, like, reactors.
I mean, yeah, the spirit of the times is All Star, Shrek pulling earwax out of his ears, and nuclear disasters. And you have 50% of the last 50 years or so on this earth. Everything else is a complementary event to flesh out. I'm sure you could abstract your way into thinking that these are the two most symbolic events ever, in the sense that
It's
you
like,
distill history down to two qualities: childlike symbolism, as opposed to the adult industrial history, the dialectic of the two opposing each other. Shrek fighting, try invading, trying. Shrek buys a gun and shoots nuclear plant workers to fight back against modernity. But then they dump nuclear waste into his swamp, and that's the end of Shrek. Um,
is it like a scrapped a draft for a script, or
did you know that the script of the first Shrek movie was actually bought by Spielberg and leased to DreamWorks when they made the first movie? And the reason he bought the script was because it was sold to him as the story of an ogre outcast by society because he was ugly and he was mocked by all of the other beautiful um, figures of fairy tales. And it's from this German story playwright. Uh,
I
it's like
figured,
Eyes Wide Shut.
yeah, I could
I'm
see
going to
that.
keep interrupting you because I derive pleasure from the misery of others,
Well,
such as
I was just gonna
the
say
essence
that
of the human condition.
it was inspired by Ted Kaczynski's manifesto, and Spielberg co-opted the script to hijack it and make it because he to make it a story to the untrained ear about a green man who is a different color from everyone, who's an outcast. But in actuality, it's about blowing up the modern world and shooting power plant workers to knock down the energy grid.
It's all in the first few minutes. Somebody once told him that the world was going to roll him.
The world tried to
He
roll
ate
him,
the
and
sharpest tool in their shed.
they tried to roll him, so he fought back and he rolled them.
You never shine if you don't glow. And that's who is in our hearts. Someone who glows. It's all about it's all modernity. It's all about glowing. Never shine if you don't go.
You get swept up in the rat race. You have to. It's like the modern world is unfulfilling, like that song is saying.
I'm reading this this job offer I have to write a cover letter for, and it says constant client interaction. What do you mean by constant?
Yes.
Constant
I'm pretty
client.
good at hand jobs. I have years of training. Well, that's months. You can put that in terms of months. I have around something like that. It's like 95 months worth of experience in the domain. So I'm almost keeping it 100. They specify that there's no cold calling. It's all inbound calls. So you have to be warm with the clients. There's no cold calling.
Oh, is this about telemarketing?
You know, deep down, I wish I was a telemarketer. I wish I was a telemarketer. Telemarketers, they don't realize how good they have it. Telemarketer spreads misery. And that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Because it's only through sublimation that misery finds a form that humanity can tolerate. Sublimation, yes. Because misery is a solid, you see. Misery is a solid until it's a gas. What we need is more gas, not more solids, because we're running out of space. It's a big planet. 11 billion people soon.
Gas the solids.
What we need is more gas. Yeah, you need to gas the misery. Well, the misery is the gas, and we need to breathe it in so that we don't run out of space.
What can you run on misery? I know we're having that fuel shortage too. So if misery is a gas, can you burn it?
Is it like that monster movie where they power machines from the fear and misery of children?
See, that's a Spielberg movie too, isn't it?
I think he
Spielberg
co-opted
is a
that.
visionary.
Is he a visionary or is he co-opting good ideas?
I think he is the catalyst. He is the catalyst through which good ideas find good form. Yes, sublimation of the solid misery.
Without Spielberg, would these ideas ever seen the light of the big screen?
You know, without Spielberg, we wouldn't understand man as a two-piston misery engine. And where would we be without that?
Is he bringing the ideas to the big screen, or is he
Bring the big ideas to the small screen.
is he co-opting these ideas so that by the time they reach the big screen, they've been like watered down, so that the average brainlet can't derive something from it other than base pleasure?
Well, I think the masses are entitled to contemplating misery as much as elite contemplators of misery is. So sublimation is an art form, yes, but it's also a form of sustenance for the common man, and so the common man must be allowed a channel to misery as well. For without misery, he would run out of gas. And what everybody needs is more gas. Hence the experience, the Shrek greenhouse gases. And global warming is metaphorical. It means that we're all coming together as a big family.
Because the entire third world gets imported into the West.
There's
or
no such thing as the third world. There's just one planet. We have to share it. We have to share.
I agree. We have
To
to.
share.
I agree. We have to bring them all over and put them all into not just into cities, but spread them out into villages so that everyone can have a piece of the prosperity.
What we need is to synergize. Synergize. That means that the logical progression of the human mind from the ability to abstract from finite forms and into reason finds its logical progression by synergizing with other similar consciousnesses in order to form a unity and find the power of compounding synergistic consciousnesses, which the interplay of which slowly unify and standardize their processes as to gain a quantitative power over the world around them. And so this is how we survive.
What does that say about the doability and the ethics of the atmospheric quantitativeness of the workplace?
Well, ethics derives its interpretation from the properties of the material characteristics of our environment, which is, since our material characteristics of our environment is what has, jump-started evolution, has defined us since, and so we should look to how we can adapt to the gas around us and this new gaseous environment in which we must coexist in order to know what the next step for humanity is from an ethical standpoint of view.
Well, I would have to say that it would be the reallocation of melanin from one side of the planet to the more melanin deprived pigmentations in order to quantify optimal prosperity.
Well, yeah, I would, yeah. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, really, because the autochthonous tribes of the colder climated surfaces of the planet have just had a bad time with the recent increase of exposure to the sun. And as we know, this is, agricultural science, the sun is life, and more sun is a good thing, and what we're getting is more sun. So it's about how we adapt to the gas, how we adapt to more sun. That is the way forward. So these the pale, under-adapted, unfit. We're going to call them unfit, but of course, technology will find a way for these people. They're a minority in the world, so they should. It's only natural that they would be reincorporated into the majority's defining evolutionary biological toolbox. It's a toolbox. Your body is a toolbox, and everybody needs to have their toolbox outfitted the way nature intended. So here with forgoing paleness as we shift towards a high sun environment.
So, for the purpose of evolutionary progression, we should utilize the superior virility latent in the melanin-enriched individual to ritualistically inseminate the melanin-deprived pigskins in order to adapt them for the modern world.
Yeah. That's one way to do it, but I would look to the expert opinions of and I assume this has been tried, of those who have already experimented with that kind of process and through trial and error have found um, the best kind of procedure, for curing that kind of dysgenic characteristic. Which, by the way, I'm sure CRISPR will soon be able to cure entirely. If there's an easy gene to sequence, it's that. It's very much that.
But it wouldn't give us any cultural benefits though. Just to genetically engineer. Like we need the full toolbox of the individuals.
As individuals cannot be seen individually; they have to be seen as a part of the whole. And so, when you see culture as a part of the whole, as a certain Ludwig Joseph Johann Wittgenstein put it, culture is a sewer, and so we should just, be mindful of what the spiritual output of output of that whole process is, and trying to eliminate any kind of friction it would cause. Yeah.
Well, any friction, it's so minor in terms of advancing
Well,
us
that's a figure of
evolutionarily.
speech, of course. It's figure of speech, The future is literally a bright place, and this is why we need to adapt. We need to adapt. We need to adapt. This is There is no greater certainty than that man's role in the universe is to eliminate uncertainty. And of course, the first step of doing so is understanding how it can be catalyzed as a self-perpetuating dialectic within the evolutionary driver of human psychology.
That makes sense to me. I don't know who wouldn't get that.
Well, we have to be mindful that, of course, all things must be made as Spielberg would be here. He would, of course, masterfully put it in terms understandable by anybody, which is fair.
Every generation has its Luddites and its Kaczynskis, the mindless, ignorant individuals that strike back against progress.
I see them as a necessary, and this is a very controversial opinion, but I do see them as a necessary step, in the sense that they are the benign disease on society from which we are vaccinated as a unified whole. They are the random manifestation of data. They are the fragile element of society that allows society to be strong.
What good is an average, a collective group if there aren't outliers? You have to have the cancer to have a whole.
You have to know what's bad to know where to put your boundaries.
Everything serves a function.
When seen from the proverbial bird's eye view, things greater than us, ensembles greater than us. In fact, all human beings form an ensemble on this planet. Amazing efficiency arises, and that's where we should really put our hopes in the efficiency of the whole, the emergence phenomenon that comes from cooperating consciousnesses. Does away with any error that perturbs us on the individual level.
And it is perturbing to the average person.
Only because they can't look beyond themselves and appreciate the greater entity. They have no sense of scale, no large driving purpose.
That's and it's quantifiable, like this nature latent in them.
Oh, absolutely. It's been studied. There have been treatises written on this. Just the tendency of mankind to look at itself individually before considering the needs, the desires, and the plans of the collective. It's a known phenomenon.
And knowing is half the battle, of course. And the other half being cooperation. We're really better off. This is what I described as being the efficiency of the whole.
But sometimes the whole has to call the outliers.
Naming the outlier is a practice that we've seen as an emerging phenomenon, but not yet co-opted by most socially conscious peoples. It would certainly be a solution, but as with all things, firefighting does not eliminate the cause. Eliminating the fire itself should be done, and as you all know, advances in genetic sciences is really the way towards preventing outliers within human societies. It's going to
Of
be
course.
an exciting couple of decades, exciting century, couple of centuries. Hopefully, we have ahead of ourselves. Yeah.
Well, it's always been like that, even before advances in genetics were made. I mean, phenotype, selective breeding, stuff like that, it's always been a thing. People have known this for a long time.
I think the optimal way to stop outliers is to, I mean, such as they're doing now, we need to restrict the internet, phase out these outlets that are able to decry against the injustices of the status quo, so that like so that they can further their agenda in the long run for the optimal ethics of the collective. And then in time, everyone who is a consumer is brainlet will just be killed, along with the people that they were attacking.
I don't think, again, there is such a thing as conflict. When you look at the whole as an efficient system, we are the machine that keeps the world going, okay? And I'm going off this it's hard to say because there are victims, and we have to acknowledge that there are victims. But conflict is an illusion
Well,
in
victims arise out of society. I mean, there's no such thing as a victim from individual wrongdoing. It's all societal wrongdoing. You know, institutionalized victimization. I mean, privilege.
Exactly. Like that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Yeah, I don't even need to elaborate.
It's self-evident.
yeah, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. That's the real beauty of modern science is that we can now reduce the most inaccessible, unaccessed, out of reach notions to no-brainers, so that everybody can participate. And I think that's where innovation arises. For every doubling in the population that participates in innovation, innovation goes up exponentially. And so that's why, more people coming together, more people merging as one, that's exponential innovation, and we can't even dream of the innovations that will take place in a few decades.
And who are we to deny innovation its natural course?
Well, we are the product of innovation. So who are we to stand? Exactly. You made a fantastic point, which is that we can't stand in our own way. We can't stand in our own way. We are our own destiny in a very concrete way.
Yeah, the entire concept of standing against this, of striking back against just modernity, it's ridiculous. It's self-destructive.
It stems from the idea that we need to be unified. That's wrong. That's wrong because and you see this among children all the time. The more you bring different individuals together, the more trust and the more cooperation towards outcome we cannot predict. And that's the real emphasis. This is, outcomes that nobody sees coming is what defines history. So people, different backgrounds, different interests, different ideas coming together, cooperating, innovating, creating history, and doing the opposite, standing, publicizing this idea that unity will solve every problem is the real issue here. It's the real issue here. And there's we've all seen this, certain politicians make the headlines with trying to phase in this kind of unity talk when really it's the diversity of individuals that come together and make history.
That's right. Look at the Roman Empire. Look at the Greek Empire. They were great because they were diverse. They had millions of people, different people from different backgrounds. Just an outrageous pool of talent to draw from. That's why they innovated so much.
Yeah. Mediterranean is the
multinational, multi-regional empires like that, that's what drives innovation.
Mediterranean is the petri dish of humanity. We should really learn from that. And I think that what's beautiful is that we're turning the world into a petri dish for innovation. Yeah. That's what we need to see ourselves as a whole, This petri dish that we need to root. This is why we are self-conscious. We need to prevent. Freak occurrences of nature that prevent spread of natural occurrences on this petri dish. We all have to. We all share.
Yeah, we can't let the Library of Alexandria be burnt again.
Tragedies throughout history, which if avoided would have set us 1,000 years ahead. We would be on Mars. We won't be on Mars. We would be on Mars. We would be mining asteroids. I would be on the sun. We would have landed on. I am adamant on this. We would have landed on the sun. Should the Library of Alexandria never been burned? This is common sense. This is common no-brainer here.
And the naysayers who say that the Library of Alexandria wouldn't have made a big difference because it would have mostly just been a collection of books of like how to milk your goat. Are simply ignorant of and I say they don't want us to succeed.
Absolutely not. It's not like they're qualified to talk about it. Have they ever read any of the books in the Library of Alexandria? I don't think so.
I doubt they would even know where it was situated.
So clearly, you can't trust people who aren't qualified to comment.
Trust is a commodity in today's society, and we should certainly be wary of assigning value or trust to the undeserving, which fortunately happens quite seldom. But when it does, has this create victims, and we want to avoid that. We want to avoid that at all costs.
Absolutely. Victimization is an anathema to innovation. Victimization enforces individuality.
Well, individuality is not condemnable if the whole is kept, if the individual is mindful of how his or her or its actions will affect the whole, of course. Yes, if we act out on our own, we become a footnote to history at best, and quite often we've all been taught this, and since we were children, of course. Often a cautionary tale of inflammatory, egoistic actions. It just creates suffering.
Well, nobody has ever done anything important by themselves. Nothing lasting was created through the efforts of one man.
Exactly.
My lungs are killing me. The worst part is I'm not even killing my lungs. I wonder why my body's punishing me like this. I guess you have to be old to complain about this kind of things, and I will be patient and wait until I am on my deathbed to complain, because nobody minds a dying person complaining, of course. But well, we're all slowly dying, so I might as well start now. And say, my lungs are killing me. My lungs are killing me, and I have done nothing to harm my lungs.
Maybe your lungs have internalized some kind of microaggression.
Um, yes, 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 yes. We breathe in so much pollution these days, I know. It's microaggressions on a near constant basis.
Yeah, how can you say you haven't antagonized your lungs?
I don't. No, I try not to eat meat to prevent pollution. And of course, it saves money to avoid eating meat. Avoid eating straight, just not eating that much at all. Frequently, it's about knowing who to hold responsible when it's intentions that count. It's no one should ever have to write a cover letter for a finance position ever. What despicable larvaic life form has to brag about the size of the balance sheet they held records of? It's degradation is Self-improvement in disguise.
Degradation shares a lot of syllables with innovation.
Like the letter I. The letter I. Letter I. iPhone. iPad. Cyanide. Yes.
I think you might be onto something.
Yeah, on top of the issue. On top of the issue.
Could we combine cyanide and smartphones in some way?
Cyanide and smartphones. Well, it's not a very difficult connection to make when you consider that all you would really have to do to have cyanide capsules next to the battery so that when the battery eventually melts the starch capsule in which the cyanide is stored, the electricity will zap the cyanide into the air, into the airways of the phone user, effectively murdering them via cyanide gas, which should lead to interesting epigenetic adaptations to our grandkids and their
Whoa.
smartphones. You could definitely see a generation of smartphone-ophobics because their grandparents inhaled smartphone cyanide gas via batteries.
It all comes back down to gas.
Gas and genetics. It's yes, yes. I say yes. I say yes. Gas and genetics. Back down to gas and genetics. And it must be some kind of epigenetic adaptation. Where a major gas and genetics related trauma in our personal genetic history is finding expression by these neuroticisms in our deductive conclusions about human nature. Completely appropriate, considering the circumstances. Gas has always been the predominant issue threatening human society as a whole. 20,000 years ago, it was the Ice Age and various gases being trapped inside of glaciers, preventing development of plant life on the globe. And of course afterwards with the Vesuvius it was sulfur. I don't need to mention the traumatic episode that was the Second World War. Now we're facing greenhouse gases, yet another traumatic transformational traumatism we can learn from. We'll have to because of epigenetics, one way or another. so very emotionally draining. Do you consider yourself a scientist?
Well, that depends what you mean by science. I mean, almost
That's
anything
exactly
can
the
be.
core of the issue here. What do we consider by scientists?
I mean, technically, we're all scientists.
We're all scientists, aren't we? Just like this. It's inherent to the human condition to be a scientist. Be a scientist.
I think we can say that many people are scientists, even without any of the formal education that society likes to put the label with.
Everybody is a Da Vinci waiting to happen given the right circumstances. Although I do not, will never condone the application of Da Vinci's genius as has been recently, in the past few decades, debunked. His inventions were pure warfare oriented and contributed very little to human advancement apart from pretty drawings and the like. A virulent warmonger and a villain, if I've ever seen one. God rest his soul. Oh, there is no God. God. There is no God. There is no God. There is no God. There's no God.
What do you mean by God?
The figurative
This is
expression
a
of
very important
human
question.
conception of ultimate abstraction within the context of human potential
I
would
hardly
have to be
believe that you can say that doesn't exist.
because all notions of God are inherently anthropomorphic, and so even if attempted, would be wrong, would be definitely disprovable.
What do you mean by disprovable?
Well, there's clearly a lack of evidence and a lack of evidence for an omnipotent being by human standards, and an abundance of evidence that human conceptions of omnipotent beings are inherently flawed and reflections of one's own subliminal wishes for power.
Well, it sounds to me like you're trying to assign a human value to something that isn't necessarily knowable. Evidence, a lack of evidence is not evidence to lack of.
It's a what I'm describing is a dialectic process, and make an excellent point, but that's one half of the process. Of course, one half will always, as Karl Popper, greatest mind of the 21st century, said science only disproves, and when it comes to disproving human inefficacy at conceiving something greater than itself, evidence abounds. Evidence abounds.
Well, it's certainly a delicate issue. There's no denying that it's a very delicate issue.
No, on that we can agree. That we can agree.
You know, it's one of those very, very polarizing topics that gets many people upset on both sides.
Of course. Faith of any kind is no substitute for a positive personality.
Of course not.
Of course not.
And, you know, with the conflict inherent in this kind of divisive topic, it's going to be very difficult to actually hold any kind of practical study on anything.
Though it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, of course. We
Well, of course not.
should all be rational, controlled human beings when discussing any topic. Of course.
It is the ideal. That's the goal we should all strive for, isn't it? But sadly, that's rarely the case.
Yeah, I don't. I see potentials. I see great potentials. And I see potentials that dispel any kind of naysaying regarding the current state of things. And
See, I believe
I'm
that's largely
very outcome independent, I would say, and process oriented is the way. It's the honest approach. It's the honest approach.
I don't know. I view that as largely wishful thinking, and I don't know. Your anecdotal experiences may be significantly different from mine. I mean, we live very separate geographic locations. We deal with very separate types of people.
And yet these universal constants of course our attitude differs when it comes to how we deal the individuals, but there are undeniable tangential features universal to all human experience, which eventually are the ones that define us as the whole global timeless petri dish.
Well, of course, that's undeniable. Even while dealing with, you know, the individuals, you cannot forget that individuals make up the collective.
And the collective makes the individuals in a very inconvenient way for those that would like to promote the idea of a power greater than human capacity for innovation and problem solving, of course.
And that's where the universal constant comes from. You know, some would attribute that to an omniscient omnipotence, but it's not necessary.
It's not necessary, and unnecessary assumptions, as ironically a 16th century monk, William of Ockham, pointed out, is something that should be discarded.
As another monk said, and by no means do I mean this denigratingly, but from the mouth of babes.
The truth emerges.
Precisely. You can find truth. You can find beauty. You can find truth everywhere. It's independent of the author.
I have trouble breathing. Trouble breathing.
What can be derived from that?
From having trouble breathing.
Yeah.
A valuable cautionary tale. I would against pollution. I would assume.
Well,
Really?
that brings us back to power plants. So it's much better to have brown water than nuclear power. Because brown is beautiful.
The color of the water is a purely subjective feature. It's of course effects on health and can be as brown as it can possibly be if it has no adverse effect on health. There's no reason to fear it.
Color of water is a social construct. It makes no difference. It was imposed upon the rest of the world by colonialism to make you
Ask
believe.
the colorblind if they think the water is any different, and they'll say no. Of course, they'll say no because they're colorblind. Colorblind.
That's why it tastes the same to me. I'm still breathing and I'm drinking it.
Yeah.
It's so the West would go to other countries and say and tell them
just be careful not to inhale the water, of course, and that might be what certain ignorant people are doing.
Well, of course.
Inhaling the water.
Studies have proven
if you inhale water, no matter what the color is, I mean, the effects aren't going to be beneficial.
Studies have proven
that's exactly my joke.
Studies have proven negative consequences to inhaling water as opposed to drinking it. So I believe that.
Well, it's hardly a joke. I believe you're doing yourself a disservice.
Well, studies have shown that bottled water is objectively more unhealthy than tap water because it hasn't gone through the same health check process that tap water has gone through. So-called mineral water.
There's been
no thank you.
There has been a smear campaign against bottled water to say that you're just bottling tap water. You could just drink your own tap water. But if you look at the science behind it, it's very clear that buying bottled water comes out ahead. And that it also doesn't matter what color a river is. The West would go.
What about the plastic waste? What about the plastic waste that the bottled water produces? Because plastic waste equals polluted natural mineral water reserves and.
Well, that is also a social
process.
Water pollution is a social construct as well. It's to make the Indians and the Chinese and Africans and Brazilians and Filipinos feel bad about the state of their water, when in reality it makes no difference. It doesn't matter if it's brownish red, tastes like pennies, and is filled with plastic.
Well, I rather like the taste of pennies, so it does matter.
Their water is perfectly natural. I mean, it's beautiful. And anybody who says otherwise is just trying to stifle their innovative spirit.
It's part of the nuclear power lobby's smear campaign to get them to install more nuclear power plants.
I would believe that.
The Simpsons and Stan Lee have warned us about the nuclear power lobby.
Oh, for decades now. Yeah.
Look at the nuclear power lobby. It's still around. It's still somehow viable. that right there is a huge warning sign.
It's the monster from the last century.
It's a relic of an obsolete time.
Ask the Japanese what they think about nukes.
Exactly.
Yeah, ask the Japanese. Yeah, because they got nuked twice.
Mm-hmm.
Ask some Australian Aboriginals what they think of nukes.
Because they got nuked. They got nuked.
Similar. Ask Australian Aboriginals what they think about white people. It's very similar.
There's no more destructive power on Earth.
Than white people. They're equivalent to a
they're
nuke.
germs. They're germs. Their germs are. Yeah.
The
We should have
white-toed plague.
sanitizers in every available in every public place, in case of a high concentration of whites. Create self-reinforcing bacterial viral outbreak. So there's a lot to be done.
This kind of behavior can't be allowed to propagate in a civilized society.
Pitch me a character idea.
He's cheerful.
Wow, that's all I need to hear. No, stop right there. That's all I needed.
He's cheerful. He's into it. He likes it. It doesn't matter what he's doing. He breathes it. It's a living. Person is a dynamic spirit.
What is his profession? What is his motivation?
He's a taxi driver. The kind that picks you up at the airport. But he loves it. Even though he never really interacts with the clients, he breathes the good attitude, and it's made him quite successful. And of course, customers never really look at whether you're taking the long road when they're comfortable in your presence.
So he's cheerful. He doesn't get involved with clients too much, but
No,
they feel
he's very
comfortable.
detached. Yeah.
So he's cheerful and detached from people. And he also is subtly screwing them over to make himself more money.
Of course. Yeah. He's not necessarily a good person on the inside, of course. This is if you were to capture this person, snapshot in a situation, this is a person that breathes. L'élan vital. It's an inspired person.
Inspired by what?
That's the thing. Some people truly believe that they are better than others. They really do. They truly believe they're just better. They simply are better. So inspired by knowing that they are better. That their demeanor can do nothing but convey that they really are. That they very much honestly believe they are the best. That they're just better. They're great. They really are great. Very self-satisfied. Deep, fundamental self-satisfaction. This is what we're talking about here. An inviolable joy of being.
What does this character, if he had to be, let's say, somewhat of an animal character, but not a furry character, what would he look like?
He'd
Give him
have
like
chops, you know, like that, like the chimp
I'm
bear on the
envisioning
side,
a
British
rabbit.
style.
rabbit,
Looks kind of funky. The chops on the side,
a rabbit with mutton chops.
mutton chops, yeah. Lots of rings,
Like a lot of gold rings all over his fingers.
big, gaudy, bullshit encrusted rings, yeah. Very, very expensive Italian shoes, no socks, of course. And and the pants are just too small. Pants are just too small, but they're just there. They're just there to, to lift right above the ankles, just so people know he's not wearing socks in his Italian shoes, because he just needs people to know. Down to the toes.
The
This man's
pants,
so self-satisfied with himself.
these pants, they're really tight and they stop like above,
They're short.
about
They're
halfway
short.
down the
Not
calf.
necessarily tight. They're just really short.
So they're they're halfway above they're at halfway the thigh then.
They're like halfway to the thigh. I have to say, I'm deeply disturbed by the animal aspect. I thought you were better than this.
No.
Really
It's
did.
not. It's not that straightforward.
Don't let me interrupt the creative process then, of course.
No. It's more convoluted than just animals. Cheery,
This is pop culture in the making.
cheery, manipulative, but the manipulated don't know it.
Self-satisfied.
Don't know it because they're
Strong
so
expression here.
socially
Believing in the self
distant.
is
Somewhat socially distant. Very egocentric. Expensive Italian shoes. What? Expensive. What does Google tell me what those are? Expensive Italian shoes.
no.
Like,
They're custom made. There's no brand.
are these just
Custom made.
like loafers?
No, they're laced. They're laced, and they've got this sort of clip clop. Those kind of shoes. You can hear him in his taxi. You can hear his feet hitting the pedals. Because the soles of the shoes are a little bit just hollow enough to make a bit of sound whenever it hits anything.
These are like
This really adds
suit
to the
shoes.
atmosphere.
These are like suit shoes, right? Like
Yeah,
dress
they're like
shoes.
they're dress shoes. Very with like, you know, leather work on it, carved leather work on the top of them.
Kind of,
The sound of the souls is very important, and it complements the sounds of the rings because he likes hitting things with the rings, just letting his hands wander. It's all about asserting his presence with the clip clopping and the gling glonging of the rings.
I'm not gonna know what these character notes even mean. Like a week from now, expensive, like encrusted rings that gling glong.
Good Lord. Now I want rings that gling glong. Jesus Christ.
I wouldn't know how to. I wouldn't know how to make that sound with any tool. It's like, is it clicking? No. Is it like,
You have rings on your hand, and you get those like handlebars that they have in like public stairs and whatever, and you just grab on those and let your fingers run along those. That's gling glonging right there.
is like scrapey sliding?
No, it's just like it's like you grab onto the handlebar or whatever, and since it's hollow, it goes gling long, gling long. You know, it's just there's gling long of.
I'm just gonna have to say, like when you grab a hollow handrail and it makes that sound.
I'm gonna start referring to people's jewelry as gling long.
Oh well, I'm sure he could do that too. He's like, those are some nice gling glongs you got there.
No, that's some nice gling long. Gling long is like the quantitative.
Refers to jewelry as gling glong.
I like this guy already.
What kind of shirt does he? What kind of shirt does he wear?
Um, like those like those just a little bit too tight hipsterish button-down shirts with like goofy, but somewhat ugly, looking like 70s wallpaper type of designs and patterns on them. You ever seen those? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I actually think I do.
That like that, but just a little bit vintage, just edging into vintage. You can tell this is like something that's been thought out here.
Only took 5 minutes to design a character, whereas it takes me about months.
obnoxiously whistling at things. I mean, this is a taxi driver, right? Someone does something stupid or whatever on the road. It's like, oh, look at him go. Hey, calm down here.
Sorry, he's from like Brooklyn or something.
It's like he was from a better place that is Brooklyn than Brooklyn. But you're starting to get like the good obnoxious feel to it. I don't know about Brooklyn. I've never been in Brooklyn. I've never seen Brooklyn people. But if Brooklyn is as obnoxious as I think it is, yeah, might as well be.
That's what it seems like in movies and games, but I doubt the reality is any good.
Yeah, this is what we're talking like a real try hard at trying to be larger than life. But you can tell it's just this like hollow. You can tell there's not much going on up there. Yeah, it's giving off the impression that you're a puppet. That he's a Muppet. Muppet can be described as a Muppet. A fucking Muppet. Look at, it's like open quotation marks. Look at this fucking Muppet. Look at this guy. He's a fucking Muppet. End quotation marks. Look at this guy. He's a fucking Muppet. He's got the gling glong and the whistling and the flip cloppy shoes, and look at this guy. He's a fucking Muppet.
I'm noting this down because this is all very important.
He's wearing a tie.
Wearing a tie over the button down.
Yeah, over the
shirt.
hipster shirt. Yeah. And not even like a goofy tie, no, just like a regular tie. Like your standard like silverish blue try hard I'm at the office tie. And like the mutton chops and the shoes and the shirt and the glim, it's all too much. It's all very obnoxious. It's all just saturated. This guy is too many colors and too many sounds at the same time. He insults the senses. He's a fucking Muppet.
I will be honest, this character is more fun than the other ones I have drawn up.
I mean, like, if you could remake Drive, but this guy, I'd watch that. I mean, it's Goose is a saint, but like. You can cut that Autismo crap. I don't want to see it for the 5th time in a row, and get me Gling Glong in the seat.
Is his name Gling Glong, or is that just what people insult him with?
He got 5 minutes. He says, tapping his watch like it was gonna make a run. You got 5 minutes. You're here or I'm gone. And he talks smack to people when he's like on his like illegal. That's perfect. No, this guy is the guy from The Driver. At night, he's he does like the whole driving people around, criminals and all that shit. and he talks back. He talks shit to people. He's extremely obnoxious and just very insecure and very head on to these criminals, whatever he does. But daytime, he's he's your happy, just generally agreeable taxi driver at the airport. Yes, this is a driver fanfic. Yeah, this is a driver fanfic. But animals.
But it's not even just. It's difficult.
And
to...
it's all a cartoon. The entire thing is like lifelike. Have you ever seen fuck what is that movie called?
Roger Rabbit.
It's like no, it's like this really depressing movie about
Watership
life
Down.
or whatever. And some guy sets himself on fire. It's like this 2001 movie. Fuck, I forget. The Waking Life. Have you ever seen The Waking Life? If you haven't, you should watch it. It's extremely
What the
edgy.
fuck?
But you see that cartoon style?
Yeah.
See that? That's how it's filmed. It's like the entire movie is like that. Or TV show where there's characters. Whole thing's like that.
But the movie Drive.
But the movie Drive, Gling Long Taxi Driver, obnoxious. All the colors are saturated as fuck. So this guy is just mutton chops and shirts and ties and shit. It's like, it hurts. It's like a Matisse painting.
So yeah, I have to find a way to make him fit then into this setting.
What setting is that?
Now you got it's like a series of tropical islands, but on acid.
Well, that's fucking perfect. Let's give this guy a do-over.
I'm
We're gonna
fall.
add shades. We're gonna add shades. Shades on. Shades. He's got his cuffs up, and he's got a bunch of scars, and his taxi's always blasting the soundtrack from Hotline Miami, just on loop. That's all he listens to, and he's bobbing his head the entire time because he's into it. Of course, this guy smells like cologne, like way too much. Like the whole car is just smells like fucking flowers the entire time. You could sniff this guy's soles, and they would smell like flowers.
Wait, he
If
reeks.
you were so inclined to smell a man's feet.
So he reeks of cologne that smells like flowers.
Yeah, yeah. Like you would think it's women's perfume, but he's wearing it, and so you can tell it's men's perfume.
A lot of the other characters just kind of seem like pussies now.
No, they're not high energy enough.
But not some of them.
What is this is some Christian tier fanfic?
No, these are actually. I'm actually trying to come up with an original idea.
For
I am not sure yet, but I know it probably involves 3D modeling.
sounds complicated.
It sure as fuck is.
I mean, 3D modeling this guy, Glinglong, it's gonna take you forever.
It. I mean, if I can just get down like general human shapes down, anything else is like a no-brainer.
Really,
Yeah.
really. Even these convoluted, complicated outfits and so on.
Oh no, that's well, it's not going for extreme graphics or anything. Going for I don't know, like Dreamcast or something. Try to spin a style on it so it would justify me not having to actually be good at it.
Dreamcast.
Never seen a Sega Dreamcast.
No, I didn't have consoles or friends as a child.
Usually have one or the other.
No, never had a console. Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
You know, like not many polygons.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like a bit more basic version of Xavier Renegade Angel.
Oh, for sure, more. Xavier Renegade Angel is like, you
It's
know,
decent.
your Xbox 360 era.
This is like you barely recognize.
If you, I don't know what you're looking at, but if you put the right style spin on it, it can look decent.
Yeah, yeah.
There's some games they get by just by the style.
See what you mean.
Got games like Mega Man Legends, way that 3D looks, not complicated, but simplistic enough that it's like appealing to the eye.
Interesting.
As long as you make it look nice.
Yeah, I can empathize with that.
Not saying I know how to do it. I'm still, I'm still baffled by how to make a person, and then here I have to make inhuman people that aren't furries, but they are animal people, but they're not furries, which is an interesting prerequisite to operate under.
Hmm. Okay.
I started off with one character who is an animal character who does not fit the guidelines to qualify as a furry character. And I thought that's kind of interesting. Like if you can, it's kind of like if you can make a setting like that, animal people that are not just fucking animals on their two legs walking around.
No, like the art style would be, you have this like, low polygon character, and so the rings and the gaudy shoes just stand out.
Oh,
It's like the two defining characteristics of this polygon model, and that would work.
definitely has more uh, specific things than others.
And I mean, like,
Like what? Like got
it's like Initial D. It has all these scenes where it's just, the classic anime sliding the image over a moving background type of deal, and just voicing over, oh, look at this guy. This guy's like this and that. Oh, this is just crazy dude. That'd be great. Anime, Sega Genesis. Acid, Tropical Island, Drive Hotline Miami, crossover, furry,
I'm not fucking drawing anything.
sitcom. You don't even need to draw anything.
You gotta draw character sketches to know what you're trying to make, and that's about it.
Yeah, which you could do like the anime effect of having like the camera pan around the character in a certain way. You know what I mean? Like the shots themselves can be done.
Like the right perspective will make it look like an anime or something. The right camera angle.
Yeah, all you need is the kind of, the perspectives, the camera angles they use for the Chinese cartoons. And they're like, there's like 10 of them essentially, uh, that they all go back to. And it's become part of, it's like we have it so subliminally internalized that of what it looks like, these kinds of shots, that it becomes reflexive, that a reflex that we know what kind of shot this is, what it's for, and then get the narration with it. Fuck,
As long
I
as
actually, I like what I'm hearing myself say, because I would watch this bullshit.
um,
It's like Drive, but it's Hotline Miami, but it's Sega Genesis character models, and it's all shot like an anime.
I mean, if I'll probably end up if I ever did this, and I ended up having like a bunch of these models and locations before you could make like a game out of it or something, I'd probably just say fuck it and just animate.
Yeah, no, fuck making a game. Nobody would play a Sega Genesis game. Like a bunch of goddamn retards.
Oh, people play fucking worse.
Yeah, they play it so that they can complain about it on V.
People play fucking garbage pixel looking games.
Yeah, they do.
I
They
mean,
make it a cinematic game, you know what I mean? One of those like pick your choices. Normies love that shit. It's like it's half a TV series and half you actually play, you think?
if it was a game, it would probably be like you're kind of free roaming and surviving on an island, and then you have these wacky characters running around, and you can kill them all. And then unintentionally, well, not unintentionally, but maybe, there's lore going on in the background to explain why things are happening, but it's not in your face.
You were not gonna be able to like come up with all of this shit, man. It's gonna look like a Gmod.
I've been fucking, well, come up with what part of it?
It's the animating and coding process of all
And
everything that you're describing that's gonna be fucking difficult as shit.
I fucking know, I know.
If you railroad it to all hell, then it's
It's
perfectly feasible.
it's not gonna be something fucking really advanced. It's still gonna be it would be unbelievably hard for me, but still, it's not a high skill level thing. 'Cause I've at least been keeping notes for like 2 years on it, putting shit together. It's just a matter of now you gotta actually make something, have a proof of concept. That isn't just a couple sketches. I would love like some other fucking hack developers who just fire up Game Maker and make an RPG Maker tier game. Yeah, like Hotline Miami, they used Game Maker and just used sprites. Like a lot of the popular games that are like that, they've just been railroaded. Barely have any choice in the story. And it's all just pixel shit. So like, I don't know. It wouldn't be. It's not It's not an extremely high skill level thing. Plus, I've got nothing else going on in life, so I might as well just do this just to occupy my time.
You could genuinely make something. Here's the thing. I don't think if you want, yeah, if this is what you want, like making a game, sure.
Oh
But I
yeah,
think you could make like a very successful YouTube miniseries with it.
oh yeah. Then I have a couple. Like if I were to make both of these things eventually, they would have to take place in different time frames. That's why I've had to like some characters I planned out like their life so that you could move back and forth chronologically. So
And it
it
could
would
be like meta, where these characters drive around the ghetto like you do.
okay, it is a bunch of tropical islands, but there is like a city and
It's
the
not a
reason.
tropical island if there isn't a shit ton of slums everywhere.
See, you have to live far away from the city, from the shithole, like modernity. Living like Ted Kaczynski with a bunch of other insane people. And then in the city, it's just ruled by, corrupt people who have to, like, conquer and subjugate to get resources to build
And
up.
you get listed as being a cartoon for YouTube kids, and you get trillions of views.
Yeah. Like,
Taxi driver runs over family of 5, blood, destruction, kill all urbanites. 2 billion views on YouTube kids.
just have, like, a mini-series just about the
This is
rabbit.
the
The
21st
rabbit
century.
in
You
the
have to
city.
embrace it.
The rabbit will just be, like, his own fucking mini-series in the city. It'll just be in the same universe as the other things I'm planning.
You call it Super Rabbit Man. So that Superman and Super Something and Spider-Man, all that bullshit gets picked up by the algorithm.
Yeah.
Super Rabbit Man and Wonder Spider.
Wonder Spider.
Wonder Spider Elsa. And it's all these
Oh.
Sega Genesis models.
I thought you were just pulling another character out.
I mean, yeah, we can do Wonder Spider Elsa right now, right here.
It was like I had the picture in my head like what Wonder Spider looks like.
It's a literal spider. It looks terrifying.
It's like a literal spider, but
Literal.
is it like wearing like a striped shirt or something?
No, not even like the cool like cartoony wearing a shirt and a hat
No, not
spider. No, it's
the
a
spider.
literal spider.
The spider
It
is
looks like a spider.
the spider is a literal spider, but it does wear a shirt.
Oh, okay.
It is a literal spider wearing a shirt.
Yeah. Yeah. And it talks, and there's no like orifice moving or visible orifice or anything really.
Just kind of looks at you with its soulless black eyes and communicates.
Yeah, it's just like the big hairy tarantula. It's wearing this shirt. Doesn't make sense. No, it's good. Like the tarantula is wearing a shirt and then it has a hat on the giant bulbous ass.
Well, the whole shirt thing might be perfect for the tone of the series. Just this bizarre, terrifying spider.
It's wearing a wife
Shirt.
beater and like a top hat.
This stands for do not enter my
And
web.
it speaks like a nigger. Perfect. Elsa the nigger spider.
Italian accents and nigger accents really sound the same when you try to do them.
Oh, that's good. It's gonna be, yeah.
What kind of hat does it wear?
Like
Like one of those ratty old 1920s paperboy caps.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Wait, so he wears like that hat?
Beret looking things.
It's like, is it like? Wait, I gotta make sure. Oh yeah. I was thinking of something different. Well, I was thinking of, well, here they call them driver's caps. The one that's like that weird beret, but it's like, more like a cap. Kind of goes forward. With the newsboy cap.
It's like the same kind of thing I was thinking.
The newsboy cap has like that thing on the center on top. It's got a smaller front.
And the shirt has Elza on it. Like it spelled out. Not even the Disney character, just spelled out. Elza.
Is he wearing a shirt or a wife beater? I think his striped shirt's more fucking ridiculous.
Wife beater is just funny though.
I mean, he's not even walking upright. He's literally just like a spider.
So you can't even really tell, can you?
So it makes no mouth movement, and when it just looks at you with its like black eyes, it sounds like a nigger in an Italian when it talks.
This 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 nigger spider in a striped shirt just walks up to you and
What if you're just driving around like the slums, and this giant spider just like steps out of the darkness of an alley. It just sounds like a nigger.
What are you doing over there?
It's like, it almost fits because it's like this big, terrifying individual walks up to you in the ghetto and just talks like that.
Tries to sell you sunglasses.
Like, I hope he gets shot and someone like steals my notes, and then they read all the notes where I just keep saying nigger. Like, talks like a nigger, looks like a nigger, sounds like a nigger.
Smells like a nigger.
Smells like malt liquor and cigarettes and weed.
That's exactly what I would picture a spider smelling like.
That's what a giant spider would smell like.
It puts out cigarettes on itself.
So far, the rabbit is like the closest thing that approaches furry, but it's still like not though.
You know
Well,
it's furry when you ask yourself, would I fuck it? And the question is rhetorical because of course you would.
Well, of course, someone will always fuck it. would.
Well, there you go. It's a furry comic.
Well,
That's
no,
over.
no. It's like it doesn't.
Don't delude yourself.
People would fuck anything if it.
This is about rabbit anus, okay?
The question you have to ask yourself, once you get published, is somebody going to draw lewd fan art of this character?
They'll draw lewd fan art of any character. Do you know the things that I fucking seen? I don't think you know. You might be thinking of the wrong thing.
I don't know. I assume you see a lot.
People would have sex with a fucking skeleton. And this character, I could see how they spin it to make him like sexually attractive. The spider, I don't see that. Some of these other characters, I could see that. Especially the one character that wears like an open Hawaiian shirt with sunglasses. It could actually be stretched as being pretty homoerotic with an extreme lack of females anywhere. Which plays on their psychology. Because the only females they encounter are like, it's always a trap. I don't mean like has a dick, I mean is like a bomb or something. And then one character, he just loses it. He just tries to fuck one and he gets his legs blown off.
So all women are replaced with bombs.
Bombs or something else, like shape-shifting serial killers or well, there are females, but they are all somewhere else. They are mostly on with Chad Thundercock. So that when you see Chad,
As is his right.
when you see Chad, he is so content. He is like, he is the only person who like gets the fuck, and it drives certain. I have a stated character for Chuck, and I portray him quite fairly, and I believe that he should be a character who goes insane from the lack of pussy.
I would like every sexual interaction in that universe to just be the character models putting their feet on each other's bellies and
What?
sort of making a rubbing motion and making all the good sounds, and just so it gets on YouTube Kids and kids get subliminally CIA MK Ultra into rubbing each other's stomachs with their feet.
So that it makes them think that that's what they're supposed to do to other kids, so that when they get socially ostracized, they have no choice but to become serial killers.
Yes.
All coming
You
together.
can do unto others.
Oh, and the spider dabs.
Just dabs with his like front legs.
Yeah.
So wait, the hat is on his ass, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is like, this is starting to turn more into like SpongeBob, but in a more fucked up setting.
And that's a good thing.
So, I have a character who can do magic and shit because his master is like literally like basically like Satan, but something totally different, but still the same concept. So I was gonna ask what his motivation would be, but I guess it's kind of straightforward. I mean, when you find power like that, you're like, well, fuck. I guess I'm just gonna fuck these guys over just because I feel like it. Doesn't have to be like tragic. Like holy shit, I can like blow people up with my hand. I'm just gonna just go do that.
Yeah, at that point, just self-insert. What would I do?
That's why self-insert only goes so far. But you're just some fuck. You stumble on power. You have all these defenseless people. This isn't my self-insert, by the way. This guy would probably beat up my self-insert.
Exactly what a self-insert should be.
Oh yeah, well, so I mean, it's a self-insert, but he's just another guy. He gets fucked about as equally as much as everyone else, except the Chad who always wins.
I was too busy shitposting in the Switzerland thread to pay attention. So you made Chad and you made yourself. That's nice. It's nice.
Well,
Do
Chad
the
is
cars
just,
talk.
huh?
Do the cars talk?
Uh, I wouldn't think so. I mean, I don't have dick envy for any Chads in my life, but it's just the it's just the fact of life that there's just like an alpha who just happens to be competent.
Nice coping.
Yeah,
It's okay. It's okay. We all do it.
I'm tortured every day. Well, it's like whatever someone's feelings are, that's just how it is. Especially in like a more savage environment,
Like a tropical island.
like a savage tropical archipelago with like what do the Romans do? What do the Maori warriors of the Pacific do?
They invade other islands and eat them and chop them into little pieces and tear out everything that they own or hold dear and enslave them and eventually drown them in seawater
Yeah, pretty much.
and piss on them.
Yep.
They literally line them up and piss on them. This is historical fact.
They actually make piss farms out of them because it's much it's harder to be hydrated out there. Like you have to drink like pig's blood and coconut milk, so you just like hook people up on your boat and just like milk the piss out of them to drink it to stay hydrated.
This does not sound like a fun scenario.
Not to you, maybe. You clearly aren't a man of culture.
They were a peaceful civilization until the whites ruined everything. I don't know if they really did that, but I'm just saying, like, if you're so desperate for hydration, I would probably use your subjugated people as like a piss farm.
Fucking germs is the issue.
Well, it's all sterile.
And it's either drink the piss or die. I mean, if you die, you can't rape and pillage more, so I think that's a no-brainer.
It seems like a pretty clear course of action to me. I mean, sometimes you gotta do things you don't necessarily want to do.
Or maybe you just get used to liking them.
Well, eventually, I think everything grows on you, right?
I mean, there are upsides to getting pissed on.
Yeah.
You stay hydrated, moisturize the skin.
Smell nice.
Yeah. Um,
Oh man, this has been productive so far. Got a rabbit and a spider. That's a nigger. The spider that calls himself Wonder Spider. He just lurks around the ghetto at night. It's actually
Kidnap people.
it's
And then he
actually
puts them in a blender.
it's unintentionally like a genius concept. The concept that like it just like represents like a nigger coming up to you in the ghetto.
You, y- I just had a vision. I had a vision. I had a vision. I had a vision that the entire lighting of this thing is the exact same lighting that they have in Requiem for a Dream.
Like just the ghetto thing.
Like the lighting itself. Like that perpetual strange
Just like
it's
that
like it has that
cold look.
sunlight that conveys the nihilism of it.
I was picturing more like there's up to like 3 shades of color in the whole thing. Like it's just dark, white, and like gray. He just steps out of the shadows.
I would think like
I mean, that's what the
the
ghetto.
light yellow sunlight, purple, and pink. No, yeah, no, pink, purple, pink, whatever the midway, fuchsia.
And when you're in the ghetto at midnight, all you got is yellow from the street lights, black darkness, and the occasional white light.
White light.
Yeah, black darkness, dark blankness.
And monochrome chroma absence. So it's just like you're just in these slums at midnight. There's just like yellow street lights. And it's like the lighting is just like slanted. There's like a thick black line running across the street, the whole street from one house. And there's just like an alleyway in the darkness you can't even see. And then the giant spider just steps out. I mean, that's fucking pretty awesome. I mean, this setting is already deeper than that. It. I mean, I've just been fucking combining notes for like 2 years. Like it's already. A lot of other people just come up with this setting like in a night, where they just make shit up as they go along. At this point, I'm basically just wasting time.
Aren't we all?
Well,
Just
nothing
wasting
wrong with that.
time. Waste away.
I mean, time won't waste itself.
We will, actually. We're just here to help. Huh. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Just have a bunch of like ripped off, not good, bad Eurobeat tracks throughout the entire thing. This is the soundtrack. just the most god awful cut with Japanese female singing, repetitive Eurobeat. And classical pieces. Have Mahler's Fifth playing at random moments, completely random moments. This is how you gaslight the audience into wanting more. This has to be the core of the show. You have to gaslight the shit out of them.
Oh yeah, that's the basis of any good surrealist show.
You saw that. You watched the entirety of the at Echo Off upload that VMU Dream just posted, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to that. You
Oh,
got
that.
no clue what's really going on.
Yeah, anything that makes you, like, your mouth just kind of lowers. You have genuinely no way to figure out what you're watching. The biggest quandary that I've run into, though, is the characters can't really do drugs if the world is already on drugs.
Bullshit.
Just have them be sober. Sobriety is its own drug.
I mean, realistically, if you can, you will just, like, do drugs.
Misery is the opiate of the masses.
Because, for one thing, the sky isn't even just blue. I mean, the sky is a clusterfuck kaleidoscope.
Aren't we all? Clusterfuck kaleidoscope, nail me to a train. A moving train, nail me to a nailed by the moving train. You need trains and you need them to nail people.
You do need trains.
You need like 5-second scenes of characters saying, I can't stand life anymore, and he throws himself in front of the train and it cuts and then he's just back and alive and fine in the next scene.
No, you definitely need trains though.
But I wrote down that snail from Lego World Builder that has levers for eyes, and it just flips those levers and it shoots trolley moral quandaries at people. Shoots like the trolley problem at you. It pulls the lever that's being morally responsible for your death. It's like a
And all
snail.
the characters that die when it pulls the levers are the same characters, and it pulls the lever and it runs over itself, and
And you're responsible for it.
yeah, it pulls the lever, and the person on the tracks is actually them, and so the cart runs over them, and then it cuts back to the lever. Nobody's there anymore.
I just thought the snail just attacked you by spawning trolleys that run you over.
Well, there's got to be some kind of framework for the spawning of trolleys. I mean,
Man, does there
a
have
regular scale doesn't just spawn trolleys.
this one does though? It just spawns trolleys. It's like when you impose on its territory or when you get too close to it, it just like spins around. There's like no animation to how it moves. It just like rotates to you and it just starts flicking its eye levers at you and it just runs you over with like 20 trolleys from off screen.
Just boom, railed.
I mean, that'd be fucking like if you were playing a game and just that bullshit happened to you. You just like fuck with this, just get too close to a snail and it just fucking kills you with a trolley.
CIA niggers glow in the dark. That's why you run them over.
The trolley spawning is an evolutionary adaptation because the snail's natural predator is CIA niggers.
There is a kind of an intelligence agency. They just do CIA stuff when hitting stuff with axes isn't feasible.
Like, what do they do?
They just do CIA nigger stuff. What does the CIA do
Just
when
spook
shooting is
around, abduct animal children, and
Shoves
turn them
cocaine up
into
your ass.
child sex slave assassins?
Shoots heroin through your eye.
just whatever the CIA does, like
Puts Advil
takes-
in your coffee.
anything the CIA does, basically. I mean, it's kind of like, it's like the Byzantine Empire at the end of industrialization. And I mean, they never industrialized, but like, it's just like them at the end of that. And so you got like, he's like legionary, he's like elite legionaries who, when they can't just kill a thing, they just manipulate it to death. They're also controlled by kikes.
Are they? Is there a Jewish element to this tropical island?
Lizards.
And the
The
nigger
lizard
wizard.
people.
Yeah, lizard people. I even have a backstory to how they got where they are. Like they are in control of like the
Please tell me that
empire.
they came out of the island's volcano.
I didn't have an
Now
origin
they're-
of where they come from, aside from they almost got holocausted and they used that holocaust to guilt trip the empire into allowing them to conduct their conning until they just became powerful.
Sounds like YouTube's kid material to me.
So there's just so you just have Chad Thundercock and a bunch of kikes and his harem of animal bitches. You just basically unstoppable. All you can do is just like run from it, which is what they're all doing. Otherwise, you live in the ghetto and you get stabbed by a giant spider.
Puts out its cigarettes in your eyes. And dabs on you before killing you.
They all just jump out of the darkness.
Kills
in
you
a
by
dab.
dabbing on you while holding a knife.
Darth Vader.
Tactical dab.
They always jump out in like the dabbing pose, and then they stab you. But they rotate their body so that when they dab, the knife goes into you.
It shoots its webs into your face and calls you sissy.
What would a spider call a non-spider in place of cracker? Like
Well, what's the big difference between
dab.
spiders and mammals?
What about dabbing? You know, you said it was like it stands for destroy all bipeds. So a spider that dabs wants to destroy all
Destroys all
bipeds.
bipeds. Fucking bipeds. And goddamn biped stepping on me. Don't step on
It's
this.
like-
Step on this, gonna lose your feet,
Ain't
biped.
no biped gonna step on this nigga.
Biped.
You gonna get dabbed on.
They feel like they're oppressed but they can't really. There's no like single group that's oppressing them. They just identify
Like
that
pedo.
all the groups stand on two legs and they don't. That's the only difference.
Yeah. It's just the number of legs that have contact with the ground.
Finna gonna get dabbed on.
Fucking quadruped.
Fucking octoped, nigga.
Octopedal.
Octopoids.
Gonna fuck you up.
Octopoids.
Octopoids.
That's
This will be my
will you
new
finna call
territory
me
for black
biped?
people.
You finna call me an octopoid? or something, or is that like they say we was octopoids created
Call a
everything?
nigger an octopoid to his face,
You
IRL, and something's gonna happen to you. Fucking octopoid.
Shut fucking octopoid.
That's a good social experiment to do. Next time you go to the ghetto, bring a second camera. Bring the World Star camera.
Just a vertical cam.
And
Around
call
octopoids,
a specifically filtered vertical cam with the World Star logo stickered on it, and call niggers octopoids. No, this is good. This is where you devolve into Christian style delusion, where you think the real world is actually Sonicville,
I mean,
and you completely lose track.
it's a parallel drug acid trip nightmare world.
It's like an acid trip, but it never ends. 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 It never ends.
Well, they never end, and you never are not in one, even whether or not you do it, because it's all just an acid trip in real life. Which begs the question: why are you not shooting your peers right now? What if like actually make this like shit into like a show or something? Black people play this and they like actually identify with giant spiders.
and watch all the little 12-year-old niggers who watched on YouTube end up, I don't know, buying licensed spider costumes or something.
Talk about destroying the bipeds.
It's just like imagine fucking.
This is your break for fame. You will become
Well,
a cult figure
if I haven't,
among the Negroid, the Congoid community, the Octopoid community.
I'm not gonna reveal everything about it. I've already revealed too much. But if someone stole my idea, I would be very pissed off and I'd kill them in real life. I mean, aside from the spider and rabbit shit, like this has been very productive. Have like giant spiders that aim a Glock at someone sideways. And it's like other people live in the slums, but generally the spiders will sooner or later break in and kill you. And like the spiders were the first ones to the place where the city is. So it's like they're like an infestation underneath it.
Now that right there is hilarious. It'd be like the drow, and it's just swarming with spiders underneath.
But they all got corrupted
They're
by
all niggers.
they got corrupted by thugger culture. They got corrupted by being forced to like live in the hood, which is the only place they can emerge. What if like they started their nest got like blown up or something, and so they all have to live in the ghetto? And it's like
Their mixtape is a prayer to the rap gods. The Egyptian rap gods.
I have to type this all down because this is very new and interesting. And this is all still totally in another location that does not involve my self insert and the circle jerk going on there. They retreated after their nest got blown up. They retreated to the far corners of the underground caverns to reemerge in the ghetto where they got corrupted by thug culture and it's like, what are you gonna? It's like they're justifiably pissed off, but they're biologically driven to evil anyway. So you just have to kill them anyway. Like goblins. I actually noted all that down.
Where do you want a lollipop or something?
Man,
Also, something that the taxi driver guy says.
what?
What do you want, a lollipop or something?
It's like, just came up with like two characters and like a race of characters that just live in the fucking ghetto. It's spiders even they even have their own version of like we used to be ebenoids come from the Ebenoid Galactic Empire. We colonized Earth and built the pyramids.
We invented palm trees.
Palm trees made in the likeness of spiders.
The Kang stuck his dick in the ground. He fucked Mother Earth and palm trees. That's why big brown hairy balls grow on palm trees. Yeah, coconuts. That's why the white. It's like big brown hairy enormous nuts on a giant stick, and they're white inside. They have milk inside.
I actually wrote down King Spider fucked Mother Earth and made palm trees.
If you've ever eaten coconut, you've actually been eating a black man's cum.
As is
No,
the place of
this all
white
makes
ones.
sense cosmologically.
That is the place of the white cracker ingesting the superior seed of the black man.
Fuck, I have too many windows open. If only I could open the window of the soul. Just have a character that recites Edgar Allan Poe poems in full. But as like segments. So you just cut to a stanza of an Edgar Allan Poe poem. No, this is Sega Genesis Acid Trip. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Not Sega Genesis, it's Sega Dreamcast.
Sega Dreamcast. Well, yeah, sure.
Big
Yes,
difference.
yeah. Yeah, it does. It does. Of course it does. The other one's more famous, but this one is the Dreamcast.
Dreamcast is only famous probably, I don't know if it was big outside of Japan and America.
Bomb.
Yeah, I've heard the name, but just, that, just like any other name.
It was by far less successful than all the other consoles, but it still had great games with like a great aesthetic to them. Like Sonic Adventure 1 is great. There's like Mega Man Legends. What was that on? Mega Man Legends. It's on PlayStation 1. Okay, well, PlayStation 1 too, those graphics, when they're done right. You got Mega Man Legends, Sonic Adventure 1. That's the good retro 3D shit right there. The Mega Man Legends have... I need to check, because older games, they couldn't spare the polygons to have like the arm, the whole body be like one thing. Because then you have to make more polygons for the joints so that they don't look bad whenever they bend because of the topology. You have to, because it like stretches, it has to bend. Like a part that doesn't move doesn't need that many polygons, but a moving part needs more. But other games, they just split the body part They just split the body up into parts and just made them fixed on certain pinpoints. I don't know what my point was.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I think I was just looking that up and thinking out loud. I'm also drinking wine right now because I found out that the wine bottle I drank last weekend was the month-old one that I was going to throw out, and I put the new one in the fridge. Now I have to drink it. That's partly why I don't give a fuck right now. I mean, this has been very productive. This is better than I would have probably just been sitting around watching YouTube videos and anime.
Yeah, it's always fun to just sit in voice chat for an entire evening, afternoon, whatever.
It's almost 2 a.m. and I barely finished the document, and I have until 6:30 to sleep now.
Well, that won't be fun.
After which I have an interview.
That
First
really won't be
interview, and
fun.
then I have to send a bunch of letters and cover letters for jobs I'm not going to accept, but I have to do it anyways. I have to do it anyways.
So is this just for like some federal program that you have to get the quota filled or
No,
what?
no, no, no. My breeders need me to do that because they don't want to feel like failures, human beings, and they don't
I thought
fucking
you
understand that applying for positions before you've even finished your degree is a stupid ass thing. Because you're just within 3 weeks get an answer about whether or not you want the position, start immediately, and so on. Internships and all that bullshit. They need me to do it because if I don't do it, if I'm not fucking doing this, you don't get to eat. Fuck you. So yeah, it's foreign.
Yep.
2 in the morning writing cover letter about I want to be an investment intern, but I don't. I can't. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking point. No fucking point. Telling some clown tomorrow about being a junior commodity analyst. Let me tell you about commodities and anal. Yes. I I am an applied individual. Let me tell you how you realize asymmetric returns. I need to fucking kill myself. I need to do. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it. 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 I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna pull and tug the trigger. Tug. Get that. Give that trigger a good tug. Good tug. Fucking octopeds.
Never trust an octopoid.
Biped ass. Oh, fucker.
Fuck. Destroy all bipeds. It's a party, it's a rave.
Dabbed on bipoids.
Dabbing is like the black power fist of spiders. I genuinely have like 6 paragraphs just for the fucking spider of notes.
I dare you to read that in one go.
Somebody once rolled me.
World is gonna roll me.
I mean, I just write notes in a way that I'll understand them.
That's why you should read it aloud.
Let's see, wonder spider, octopoid, a large spider, looks like a normal spider but big, wears a striped shirt or a wife beater, but still a normal spider, wears a newsboy cap on its thorax, no mouth movement when speaking, just looks at you with soulless black eyes and talks like a nigger or an Italian. Represents a big, terrifying individual stepping out of the shadows and approaching you in the slums like a nigger. Smells like malt liquor, cigarettes, and weed. Puts out cigarettes on itself. And others. Said that. See, spiders dab on people. Dab stands for destroy all bipeds. They feel like they're oppressed, but the groups oppressing them are so diverse that all they can identify is that the other people walk on 2 legs. They hate bipeds, and spiders are octopeds, octopoids. See, spiders were the first ones in the land where the city now is. They were an infestation. Their nest got blown up, and they retreated to the far corners of their underground caverns to reemerge in the ghetto of the city, where they were corrupted by ghetto culture and thug culture, and now are basically niggers. Let's see, other groups live in the ghetto, but sooner or later the spiders will give you trouble and probably break in and kill you. Let's see, their origin being there first contributes to their belief similar to the Nation of Islam, saying that the Ebonite Galactic Empire created all civilizations. King Spider fucked Mother Earth and made palm trees. See, they're justifiably pissed, but biologically driven to evil as far as you're concerned, so you must kill them. And that's it.
Type that up and paste it in the D&D channel.
I don't see the harm in it.
Read me by Rabbit Man again if you just haven't done that and I didn't listen.
Well, that was more like I was just listing stuff he did. Because that was the first thing that you were telling me. I just started like listing the shit you were saying.
So what is this? You're trying to start a mini-series of some kind?
Just
Looking to capture the ages, what is this, 4 to 16-year-old market? Adult Swim style cartoons, Sega Genesis based.
Dreamcast.
pitch me your lead character, this
No.
rabbit figure man.
Oh, rabbit.
I don't,
Okay.
you know.
Well, he's cheery, manipulative, but the manipulated don't know it because they're so comfortable, somewhat socially distant, very egocentric. Nasty person on the inside, has mutton chops, fingers covered in big gaudy gold jewel encrusted rings that gling glong, like when you grab a hollow handrail and it makes that sound. Expensive Italian shoes, dress shoes that make a lot of clip clopping sounds. Wears shorts half thigh length to show that he doesn't wear socks. Wears tight hipstery button down shirt with gaudy 70s wallpaper style with a regular non-goofy silver blue I'm at the office tie. Refers to jewelry as gling glongs. Obnoxiously whistling at things. And try hard at being larger than life but is really hollow and simple-minded. A puppet. Wears sunglasses, shirt cuffs up, bunch of scars, reeks of cologne and flowers. You think it's women's perfume, but you can tell it's men's because he's wearing it. You can smell the sole of his shoes and smell flowers. Probably Brooklyn background. Say a quote, what do you want, a lollipop or something? What do you want, a lollipop? I don't know how you said it.
What do you want, a lollipop or something?
I don't, he was just pitching that, he's pitching to me that isn't all of it, but he was pitching that, oh wait, no, I wrote that down, never mind. Okay, look at this guy, he's a fucking Muppet. He's got the cling glong, the clip cloppy shoes, and the whistling. He's a fucking Muppet. If the movie Drive had this guy instead of Goose, it'd be perfect. It's like he's obnoxious, insecure, very head-on to criminals he drives, talks a lot of shit. In daytime, he's very happy and generally agreeable taxi driver at the airport. Not really, but that's what he feels like. May or may not drive a taxi. And then he said he's always blasting Hotline Miami music, but I just wrote that down to capture remember the vibe. I mean, I would watch Drive if it had this.
Kino.
Like bling belongs.
We need to get Spielberg on the line.
Well, you need to first. You have to give it a revolutionary idea for him to co-opt, like with Shrek.
Some bonus.
Well, I mean,
World is gonna roll me. Sharpest tool. Shit. She was looking kind of dumb. Finger and her thumb. Shape of an L. Forehead.
All I think of now when I hear that is that one Shatman cartoon.
did you say Shadman cartoon?
Yeah, he did like one strip of that got retweeted.
What? Which one was that? I don't recall that. Is that? I'm assuming he just drew like a porn picture for each line or something.
Shit, man.
Let me try and find it.
Fucking mean. What a fuck you take me. The fuck you take me for?
I just posted it in random.
Oh. Yeah.
Looking kind of dumb.
their finger and her thumb in the shape
The
of
shape
an L
of an
on her
L
forehead.
asshole.
One finger in her vagina and the other in her asshole. She's looking kind of dumb.
Is he our guy?
And L, stop cutting, L, stop cutting, L, stop coming. Hit the
One
ground running.
One finger in her pussy, the other in her asshole. She's looking kind of dumb, looking like a bowling ball. That didn't rhyme as good as I thought it sounded.
It's a strike and one. Otherwise known as striking gold. Otherwise known as striking your wife. Finger and her thumb. Shape. Yes, this is the end. This is the end. I'm free. I'm free.
Oh, man, that was very productive anyway. I have a race of niggers now. I had a race of kikes, but now I have niggers.
The eternal lizard people.
And I think it's also a parallel to reality to have horrifying things happening all around you, except not always in the place you directly are in. It's like the spider is like an exact parallel to having to walk through the ghetto and a big black guy walks up to you out of the shadows. Might as well be a giant spider.
That's right. Octopoids.
It said no mouth movements, but I'm imagining like the big fangs on the sides of the mouth just like moving when he says octopoid. What the I think the Southern Poverty Law Center is about to classify incels as a hate group or something.
Wouldn't surprise me. What have they been up to these days? Just whining on the internet?
Now that it was, I think the guy who ran over a bunch of people with his van in Canada just now. Turns out he was on the R9K board and complaining about, he was saying stuff about normies, roasties, Stacy's, and Chads.